Welcome to our event today. We're excited to have you here. We realize everybody's taking a little bit of time out of their schedule to be with us, and we're thankful for that. We thought we'd try something a little bit different for you today. We're about ready to eat lunch, and we thought, you know, instead of just having a great meal, we thought, hey, let's show everybody how to make the meal. And we realized that, you know, as working parents, sometimes we need a little help in that area. We don't have time to get home and prepare a big meal for our families, so we're hopeful that we can take a couple of things away from this event about our meal. So one, we want to be sure that we can prepare the meal relatively quickly. And two, we want to be able to get the ingredients from around our house so we don't have to go out and do a big shopping list. And finally, you know, we live in this great Northwest. We have great food here, and we want to have the meal have kind of a Northwest theme to it. Now, from pulling an idea off to actually making it happen, sometimes there's a few problems in there. One of those problems was we really wanted to do this live, but logistically it was nearly impossible to pull it off. And two, according to my wife, I don't know how to cook. So, you know, in getting over those two problems, we've got this great video going now. And the second problem of my lack of ability to cook is I went to, like most Americans, to my iPhone and I looked for an app. So I downloaded this great app called Summon a Chef, and we're going to give it a try today. Wow, it worked! Welcome.
Where am I?
Well, you're at my house, and we're shooting this great video for all these working parents out here that you know, don't have enough time in their day. They'd love to make a great meal for their family. They'd love to be able to use the ingredients off their shelf, and they want to prepare it pretty quick. Is that something we can do?
We can do that.
Well, let's get started. So, Chef Ryan, what are we making today?
Well, I thought we'd start off with a salad course, and we're going to do a roasted tomato and couscous salad, which is the basic vinaigrette, and then toss that over some mixed greens.
Well, that sounds really good. I'm a little confused. What is couscous?
Couscous is a North African pasta. It's basically like a coarse grind semolina. It has a little bit of a corn flavor in there, but very mild flavor, and it's a great additive to pasta or anything that you don't really want a whole lot of oomph to, but you just need a little extra something.
Okay. So is this our couscous box right here?
Absolutely, and you can pick this up in any local store. Usually it's over on the grain aisle by the rices. So if you take a cup of couscous.
All right, put me to work. Yeah, it just kind of looks like a grain of some kind, or
Absolutely.
A pasta.
And then with couscous, it's one of the most simple grains I've ever worked with. You basically boil a flavorful liquid, pour it on top, put a lid on the couscous for about 10 minutes, and then it steams itself, and that's it. Easy.
That sounds easy enough.
So for our flavorful liquid, it's 1-to-1 is the ratio. So we'll have 1 cup of flavorful liquid for 1 cup of couscous.
Okay.
And I thought we'd start with some water for the bulk of it. Then I'm going to add a little white wine in there. Today we're using Pinot Grigio. I like it. It's just a little bit more sweeter.
Okay.
But any white wine will do. And then for the bulk of our flavorful liquid, we're actually using a little bit of chicken bouillon. And you could use stock, you could use chicken bouillon. Anything you have around here is just adding a little bit more flavor into the couscous because it's very mild flavor alone.
Okay.
And I'll just go ahead and throw that bouillon cube in there right away as the water heats up. It's going to go ahead and melt down and incorporate into the liquid. Cook the water. You're going to want to heat it up with a lid on it so you don't get too much evaporation out of there. The ratio is very important. If you don't have enough liquid in there, you're going to have a crispy, grainy couscous, and that's not what we're looking for.
Okay.
Grab our lid right here.
So while it's heating up, Ryan, is there other things we could be working on?
Absolutely. Let's start with the Roma tomatoes. We're going to chop those up. We're going to take the end off, the root end off the Roma tomato, and then we're going to take it and cut it into 4 wedges.
So now you're using a Roma tomato. Is there a reason for that over some of the other tomatoes that we might have?
Absolutely. Roma's a great Italian tomato, and for us being in the Pacific Northwest, we just have a great agricultural region for it. They come with a lot of flavor around here. Yes, you could use any tomato you have on the shelf, but I just prefer Romas. They got a great flavor to them.
Okay, I'll give that a try.
Absolutely.
Well, I can tell just having a sharp knife makes all the difference in the world.
Oh, absolutely. If you're cutting a tomato and you end up with more sauce on the cutting board than in your tomato, you need to sharpen your knives.
So I'll try that technique of keeping my fingers out of the way. That seems to be the best practice.
Absolutely.
For this. I honestly think this might be the first time I've ever cut up vegetables, and that's pretty scary. But it worked pretty good.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
I like the saute pan, and we'll start off with a medium to high heat. Now if you throw the oil in here and your pan starts smoking, your oil's too hot. but you certainly want to hear a sizzle when you drop the tomatoes in there. And one of the ways we can test to see if the pan is hot, just take one of your little Roma tomatoes. Right now we can hear that it's starting to pop and sizzle.
Yeah.
Certainly warming up. We're going to add our tomatoes in here now.
Now, me not being a cook, it's kind of odd seeing tomatoes in a frying pan.
Absolutely. Now with the tomatoes, we're really trying to get a little light caramelization on there, and we need that medium-high heat for that. We're going to try to bring out some of the natural sugars in there. And when we throw these in the pan, we don't want to start sauteing the pan around because then we're going to end up with tomato mush. Yeah. Right now, we're just looking for a high heat to get a little color on these tomatoes, but not break them down. Toss those around a little bit. You can see some of these are starting to get some color on them.
Yeah, yeah.
Excellent. Now we're going to go ahead and kill the heat on this and just let them simmer down in the pan a little bit. And we don't want to go to tomato mush. We still want there to be some texture to them, but we certainly wanted to get some color on there.
So once you got the brown, you took the heat away.
Exactly that.
Okay. Are we ready for the couscous?
I think our water is ready for the couscous, to know by our rolling boil.
Well, I'll bring it over.
Great.
So you don't worry about wetting the whole thing. It's going
to sit there and it's going to steam itself.
Okay, very good. Well, that smells good too.
Great. And while that couscous, we're going to let that steam in there for about 10 minutes, and we'll cut the parsley and the lemon zest to go in the couscous.
I'd really like another stab at that knife, Ryan. It's been kind of fun.
Would you like to cut the parsley?
Get me on it.
So our next step here is we're going to incorporate the lemon zest and the parsley into the couscous we have. Now we've given this about 10 minutes to steam through, so it should be cooked thoroughly by now. We'll take the lid off. And the couscous, as we mentioned before, it is a pasta, so you'll need to fluff it. Otherwise it'll just be a big lump at the bottom of the bowl.
Mad it together, yeah.
Exactly.
Kind of like the oatmeal I make in the morning. Yeah.
Not for long. We'll have you
Looks
trained
tasty.
up. Yeah, let's go ahead and add the lemons and the parsley. We'll just take the knife and drag it along the cutting board.
Yeah, anytime you can hand me this knife, I'm okay. Okay. This is like your right hand as a chef, huh?
Oh yes, use the knife quite often.
Okay.
Just about for everything.
Yeah.
And then we'll add a little bit of salt and pepper as well.
Excellent.
We'll set that aside and work on our vinaigrette. Would you like to take the vinaigrette bowl?
So to use.
These containers, we have the basics of any vinaigrette. We have oil and we have vinegar. The oil for the vinegar, it's 2 parts oil, 1 part vinegar for any vinaigrette. And the oil we're using today is olive oil again.
Okay.
The vinegar is a red wine vinegar. So go ahead and start with the vinegar.
All right.
We'll go ahead and use all that.
Okay. Very good.
And then as we're incorporating the oil, you want to just do it a little bit of stream at a time, and you want to do it while you're whisking. We're going to create what's called a suspended emulsion, which means the oil particles are wrapping around the vinegar particles, and they're just incorporated for a little bit of time.
Okay. So something like this, so just using a whisker type thing
Absolutely.
at home?
Any sort of whip, if they have an immersion blender or some sort of kitchen appliance that eases this process, great. If not, the whisk is just fine. I'll hold that bowl for you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Very good.
Right, that should
Well, that's
be
starting
good.
to look pretty good.
Yeah. You know you have the suspended emulsion when it gets a little bit of that creamy color.
Very good.
Perfect.
Okay.
And what kind of herbs do we have? Dried herbs.
We have a drawer with herbs in them right over there.
You don't have a favorite in here?
I don't know my herbs.
How
The
about
only herb I know is a guy named Herb.
Well, we have a spinach and herb mix. Let's use that in there.
So what would be some other herbs you might throw in there if you didn't have the spinach leaf one?
Traditional, we're going to go with oregano,
Okay.
majoram, parsley, anything that's going to have flavor.
Okay.
Anything that you like the flavor of. Don't use something you're not going to enjoy. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper.
Okay.
Everywhere, and now we'll incorporate the vinaigrette onto the salad.
Okay. I'll let you do that.
Absolutely. Now with this, I always start with just a little bit of a drizzle because we can always add more, but we can't take any away.
Yeah, I've been known to drown a salad at the old buffet.
Yeah. Now that we have all the pieces of our salad together, we'll go ahead and start with greens. Give those another little toss.
Keeping them fluffed up.
Exactly.
Okay.
Height is the key to a great looking plate. And with the couscous, you kind of want to break it up a little. You don't want any clumps on there. Once again, it might try to reincorporate into a lump of couscous in there.
Yeah.
Then we'll next go to our sauteed Roma tomatoes. We'll just throw those around the plate. The nice contrast between the red and the green colors adds a great
Yeah,
flair.
it's very, very colorful and smells great. Looks awesome.
And then last but not least, put our onions on top for a little bit of garnish.
You know, for the novice like I am, walking me through it, that wasn't too terribly difficult.